Well, good afternoon and welcome to this Filothei Women Gala in Greece. Latest of our European athletics live streams as part of the World Athletics Continental Tour. And this is specifically field events, including here you can see the triple jump which has got underway. Athletes involved in this include Davile Kilti. It's a largely international lineup and many Greek athletes involved, as you might expect. So we're going to have women's triple jump, long jump, high jump and pole vault. So nice to see that specialism and a spotlight on the jumps events. So in this first event we're looking here at Eleni Nectaria Mama. She's an 18-year-old who competed at the European Under-18 Championships in Banska Bystrica in Slovakia last year. Has a personal best of 13:06. And she's also improved her long jumping this year. This is Anastasia Vokotopoulou. Personal best of 13. So now into her stride, a little stutter and hesitation initially. I think her placement was just a little off there. You can hear perhaps the wind in the background, so although it does appear to be a sunny day, maybe a little wind as well. I can hear the ruffling. You're watching live coverage on the European Athletics website. Let's have a look. 12:43 in this opening round for Vokotopoulou. She was fourth at the Greek Indoor Championships earlier this year. This here is Ilona Masson. She won the Belgian indoor title this year and has improved her personal best to 13:87. And that was in Dakar in Senegal. Over to Gizem Akos, the Turkish athlete, 24-year-old with a PB of 14:11. So she's going to go next here. Here driving through, and you can see just not executing there with a step and ducking out of that jump. So as I say, we're in the first round. Most of these women have personal bests of over 14 meters. Masson is one that's getting closer. Yeah, unusual to hear of a meeting in Dakar in Senegal, but we have seen a meeting where there are some good jumps in Nairobi, and obviously World Athletics has tried to get Continental Tour meets far and wide, including in Astana, Kazakhstan, and in Botswana as well. So Masson, who has 3 Belgian titles. Just waiting for her moment. So now she goes driving hard down this runway. And pushes through nicely. Good momentum throughout. And that looks close to her personal best. And don't forget, it was only recently set last month. Good placement then on the board. Let's have a look. Driving that knee up high. And good shape through all 3 phases. So it looked like a solid jump, even if she wasn't carrying that much speed by the end of it. 13:84. So yes, it is close to that new lifetime best and just 3 centimeters off it. From a Belgian to a German, this is Kira Wittmann. So the 24-year-old was 7th at the European Indoor Championships in Istanbul a couple of years ago. Personal best is also from that year, 14:08. 13.87 so far this year. So same season's best as Nasson. So they appear quite closely matched, but you can see they're quite clearly over that blue line. On to the Ukrainian Olha Korsun, the reigning Ukrainian outdoor champion. Personal best is 14.20. Certainly some blustering wind in the background. Korsun took part in the European Indoor Championships in Apeldoorn in March. Nice and strong run through there. And that is very close to 14 metres. Nice to see the athlete open up with a celebration in the first round. Obviously pleased with that. Hasn't gone over 14 metres yet this year. 13.82 is her season's best. So the wind is 3.4. So it's not a wind legal result, but still it's her best this year by some margin. Ilona Masson's jump was wind legal. All the others have been wind legal so far, but you can see it appears to be swirling around. So Davila Kilty, two other athletes to go after her as well, Talos and Korineva. Kilty, who was fourth at the European Indoor Championships, one of her best ever results. Her personal best, I was there in the stadium in Sandnes at the European Team Championships First League in Norway. And she won on that day, 14.28. Won her 9th Lithuanian indoor title earlier this year. Formerly Davila Zinzaletaita, married of course to Richard Kilty, who's now concentrating on coaching. Kilty looks to be around 13.50 there. Oh, that is very close, isn't it? Appears that did make a mark in the Plasticina as judged to, but might consider herself a little unfortunate there. Rather than a mark in the Plasticine, I should say, being over the board, even though the old style is still used in some places. I think it's that sort of circumstance where actually the new system is more likely to penalise you. So Elena Andreea Talos, 30-year-old from Campalung in Romania, has been in the top 8 at major championships on a number of occasions. Not in the last couple of years though, but she was 4th at the Europeans in Berlin in 2018. Again, carrying good speed there all the way through. Dancing along to the music, so she's certainly trying to find her rhythm. At least in a musical sense. And you can see there, the help of the slow motion replay, you can see how she's just able to extend out through the phases. A little bit better than some of the athletes that we've seen so far. And a number of jumps knocking on the door of 14 meters. 14 meters and 5 centimeters. So her first time over 14 meters this year for the 2016 Balkan champion. Oksana Korineva. So you can see that going over 14 meters for the first time this year. Her PB last year had been 13.87. She has 6 Greek titles. Represented Greece at the European Championships in Rome last year without making the final. And yeah, you have to remember that Greece obviously has been best known perhaps for, in the field, its titles for Katerina Stefanidi at pretty much every event in track and field, but there is a great jumping tradition generally. Louis Atoumas and Miltiadis Tangtoglu. You can see there, just didn't quite have the speed that Talos did a moment ago. Solid on the board though. Let's have a look here. Koroneva tries to keep on accelerating. Reaches there for the step. So something good to build on. Let's have a look at the measurement when it comes up. 13.56. Well, we now move on to the second round and back to Eleni Nectaria Mama. So the youngest athlete here. She has improved her long jump this year to 5.82. $12.87 in the triple jump so far this year. Now does get going, having to deal with the wind as well. Perhaps it may be a factor because it does appear to be changing quite considerably between the jumps. You can see that some of the athletes are just gauging the conditions a little bit before their run-up really pushes off in anger. So at the moment it's Ola Korsun. She has the best jump so far, 14.06. Talos, 14.05, but they're both high in terms of wind, over 2.0 meters per second. So yes, that is quite significant. They've both had the gusts of wind in their favour. As the next highest wind reading is 2.0 for Vokotopoulou compared to 3.1 and 3.4. So quite interesting how things can change minute to minute. It's all part of dealing with the competition, really. Obviously, wind in the athlete's favour is ideal. 12.62, something you have to try and deal with and hope for rubber the green, really. So slight improvement there for Vokotopoulou. This is Akos, who's hoping to get a first mark on the board. Well, there have been a number of decent jumps at some of these meetings in Greece recently, including in Kefalonia last month. There was their Hania meeting, which I was commentating on the 1st of June, so really a few days ago. And then, as well as that, a couple of days before had been Kalamata, the Louis Atoumas meeting. So we see Agos here, and that was a street meeting. And there were some great jumps there, including 6.89 from Jasmine Sawyers. So we see, that new system, your foot is over the line, whereas previously you might not have made a mark in the plasticine. Just moving on, so Alexandria, a couple of days ago on the 7th of June, so last weekend effectively. There were some more good jumps, and we'll mention them as we go through. That's where Oksana Koroneva set her new recent personal best. So Ilona Masson of Belgium finds herself in third place. So this event has sometimes had hurdles and 100 metres in the past, but just the 4 field events here, and a pole vault will get underway in about half an hour's time. High jump in 45 minutes and long jump in around an hour. So Masson here. Oh, fantastic jumping there. Look at that. Got those knees up really high and just made the most of that transfer of energy from the run-up into these 3 phases. Look at that. Fantastic extensions. Oh, great to watch from every angle, this technique. Straining to get every centimetre out of the jump. So, surely this is a new leader. 14:31. Gosh, and the wind plus 5.6. Well, that's extraordinary because it's a huge personal best in all conditions, you'd say. So 44 centimetre personal best. So Wittmann, you can hear the wind in the background again, and well, she's hoping to go as well over 14 metres. On to Korsun, who's been pushed down into second place. So Wittmann obviously getting her first mark on the board and slotting into fourth. So Kilty and Atgos, the only 2 athletes we're waiting to register a valid mark. This is the Filothei Women Gala in Athens that you're watching live on the European Athletics website. And we're in the second round of the women's triple jump. The event's being held at the Municipal Stadium Stelios Kyriakidis, and named after a legendary Greek marathon runner who has 8 statues, including in Boston, Greece and Cyprus. And obviously this stadium named after him as well. Korsun battling against this wind, but as I say, appears to be in the athlete's favour, and that's one of the advantages of long jump and triple jump. Typically quite straightforward to flip the track. Many do have sandpits facing both ways. Of course, if wind is swirling about, then it can be difficult to gauge which would be the most beneficial way. No improvement there for Korsun. On to Davila Kilty. 14:28 personal best, 13:86 this year. 17 times Lithuanian champion now. And she's 31, so still a chance, you would have thought, to get to 20. And she's a few years younger than her husband Richard, who's now retired. I think he's 35. So Filothei again trying to push towards 14 meters. Solid on that board. Had a few marks in it, as you can see. Took in really good speed. But yeah, you have to say the extensions from Masson were fantastic. Really made the difference. And when you watch jump after jump, you can really notice the difference. Small differences that lead to improvements by centimeters.
Δεύτερη προσπάθεια στο τριπλούν. Έλενα Ανδρέα Τάλος, Ρουμανία, Ρουμάνια, second attempt, μέχρι στιγμής 14-05.
So Talos, again, it's sort of around that 1380 mark that a lot of the athletes have been consistently hitting. And just to note, by the way, that Corson, her jump was again over 2.0 meters per second in terms of wind, 1390. So she's still looking for a wind legal measurement from this competition, which is still important and might be relevant, obviously, for qualification for things like the World Athletics Championships.
Οξάνα Κορένεβα, δεύτερη προσπάθεια στο τριπλούν, μέχρι στιγμής 13-56.
The qualification mark for the World Championships, by the way, obviously it's in Tokyo in September, is 14:55. So a number of athletes will be hoping, obviously, to get a place by rankings quota. I know that in the UK the minimum consideration mark is 14:35, so not that much difference. But it's expected on the World Athletics website that 7 athletes would qualify by entry standard and 29 by world rankings position. So, yeah, I remember previous descriptions of half and half, but you can see that 29 athletes out of 36 expected to qualify by world ranking position.
Και ενώ είμαστε στην τρίτη προσπάθεια, μπήκαμε για πρώτη φορά στην τρίτη προσπάθεια, πρώτη αθλήτρια, να πούμε ότι το ρεκόρ αγώνων είναι 14:73 από την Βούλευο Παχρίστο το 2016 και ένα ρυθμικό, πάμε.
Moving to the third round with Mama.
η μαμά, έχει 12-50. Δεύτερη προσπάθεια, Αναστασία Βοκοτοπούλου, μέχρι στιγμής 12-62. αλλά άκυρο πάτημα, παραμένει στα 12.62.
Να πούμε ότι είναι πολύ δύσκολος ο αέρας, φυσάει πάρα πολύ, δεν μπορούν να βρουν ρυθμό οι αθλήτριες.
So no improvement for Mama.
Ευελπιστούμε ότι θα...
Jumps now consistently appearing to be over the wind limit. It was 11.58 plus 2.3 there. No mark for Bokotopoulou though. And she stays in 7th place. Guillem Akos. So there are 9 athletes in the competition, by the way. You would assume that we're not going to lose one of them at the halfway mark. That would be awfully harsh. So the pole vault getting underway in 15 minutes time. We'll keep you across both events when they occur simultaneously. Akos just ducking out of that one. So not been her day so far. So as I was mentioning, the stadium name there, Municipal Stadium, Stelios Kyriakidis. And these are the 4 events that are part of this jump-specific schedule today. And yeah, we were talking about Greek jumping traditions, and Masen, our leader, just cut away from her. Obviously, she's looking for a wind legal measurement. But yes, the Greek long jump record, for example, 7:03, and men's long jump record isn't even held by Miltiades Tenkoglu. It's held by Louis Atoumas, for whom the recent street meeting record in Kalamata is named after. Masen, yeah, similar to her previous jump there. Very, very strong, fantastic extensions. Pushing to get that extra rotation. So it's 13.84, the same as her first round effort. I said she was looking for a wind legal measurement. And she was looking for something similar that was wind legal. Maybe something over 14 meters, for example. But yes, 14.31 with plus 5.6 wind, and then 13.84 twice. Wittmann's in 6th place. 13.80 her only valid mark so far, with plus 4.1 on the wind.
Τρίτη προσπάθεια στο τριπλούν. Κύρα Βίτμαν, Γερμανία, Germany, μέχρι στιγμής 13.80.
So we're just waiting for Kira Wittmann, the German, European indoor finalist in Istanbul. You can see there, was trying to continue and contain that momentum. Negative wind 2.6 is very interesting, so suggests it is really swirling around. And obviously would have been a bit of different sensation. And she remains in 6th place. So she's 5th in the jumping order. Olga Korsun is 6th. And in terms of position, she's in 2nd, 25 centimetres off the leader, Ilona Masen. So both of her marks so far have been with more than 2.0 meters per second wind.
Ουκρανία, Ukraine, τρίτη προσπάθεια στο τριπλούν. Θεατατέμ, some women. Μέχρι στιγμής 14.06.
3 athletes are over 14 meters, all of them over the wind limit. So Korsun really straining her body to push through the phases. But, well, that was all out of shape, unfortunately. Got that placement all wrong. That had plus 4.8 wind, so I think it will take the athletes maybe a bit of time just to adjust to the conditions, and there won't be too many meetings like this where they'll experience plus 4.0 meters per second. Obviously there will be some occurrences in training, but may not have been measured to the same degree. Filothei Kilti. 1383 plus 5.0 meters per second. To be honest, it's rare to have actually done a commentary reading out so many wind measurements, but that appears to be the way it is. It kind of does add an extra element. It's interesting sometimes to consider why the legal limit is set at 2.0. Well, I mean, for one reason, if the wind was positive, you couldn't just rule out everything, so always been judged to be a reasonable amount. Still means that many athletes can benefit from good fortune and vice versa. No measurement for Kilty. What about Elena Andrea Talos? So again, one of the more experienced athletes in this field, along with Oksana Koleneva. Has been in the top 5 at the World Indoor Championships twice. In Portland in 2016 and in Birmingham in 2018. A personal best of 14:47 may be the longest in the field, but it does go all the way back to 7 years ago in Montreuil in France. You can see almost shaking from side to side, trying to pull her body through. Let's have a look here. So around that 1380, 1390 mark there, looking with the naked eye only. A little bit short of that, so 1375. But with an almost still wind. So Koreneva, 1399 windy and wind legal 1356 so far. But it was just 3 days ago that she went over 14 meters with that new personal best. Let's have a look here. Look much quicker. Maybe a little bit disappointed by that distance once again. And jumpers always feel as though they have a big jump in them, and quite often, like runners really, wanting to run a bit faster, hoping to jump a bit further. I think that'll probably be the case, even if it is a positive result here. 1380 plus 2.3 on the wind. Well, this is how things stand at the end of the third round. So all but one of the marks so far, Mama, one of the best marks so far, is a windy measurement.
Presentation in pole vault women. Please, all the athletes, come close to the...
Well, as we're 5 minutes away from the pole vault getting going, we can now have a look along the lineup. Once again, dominated by local Greek athletes. No Kat Stefanidi, but she is a previous winner of this event. Or Nicoletta Kiriakopoulou. But some, I'm very sure, that have been inspired by that pair. Some youngsters including Anastasia Bumpalidi, who's just 17 years of age. And some international names like Hanga Klekner of Hungary, Elena Lampala of Finland, and Kitty Filothei of Norway. So we look here at Masson. Yes, obviously she's helped by the wind, but it is still an enormous jump in all conditions. A huge personal best. I think it's 44 centimetres. So however you do it, to get out more than, well, I was going to say best part of half a metre would be the best way to phrase it. To add that kind of distance to your personal best is still very, very impressive. Still got to execute the jump no matter the conditions.
Και ένα μικρό τραυματισμό κατά τη διάρκεια της προπόνησης. Η αθλήτρια Φλόρ τραυματίστηκε λίγο στο χέρι, οπότε δεν θα συμμετέχει.
Well, just waiting to introduce the pole vaulters. A chance to remind you to keep an eye out on the European Athletics website and social media channels for news and features, but particularly as far as you're concerned for this is have a look out for other streams that may be coming your way. They include the European Team Championships coming up at the end of this month, European Under-23s next month, and then European Under-20s in August. So we may yet see some of the athletes involved take part later this summer.
Ατομικό και φετινό ρεκόρ 4-15, Μυρτό Καζοτάκη. 17 ετών ατομικό ρεκόρ από πέρσι 4-25, φέτος 4-21 στο κλειστό στίβο, Αναστασία Μπομπουλίδη. Προωθήσει ευρωπαϊκό πρωτάθλημα K18.
Well, it looks like the decision's been made to focus on the fourth round of the triple jump while the pole vaulters are being introduced. It's probably a fair decision because we are going to see the pole vaulters in action, and there's jumping already going on. Mama in the fourth round, so maybe she's going to take a couple of risks now to try and improve her personal best. But sometimes when you take risks, you're not able to do the basics, and just came unstuck there.
Άλλη μια αθλήτρια που σπούδασε στις Ηνωμένες Πολιτείες Αμερικής, 4-50 ατομικό, 4-46 φετινό, Αριάδνη Αδαμοπούλου. Από την Νορβηγία, from Norway, τρίτη σε ευρωπαϊκό πρωτάθλημα K23, Kitty Filothei. Από την Ουγγαρία, from Hungary, με ατομικό ρεκόρ 4-57, Hanga Klekner. Με ατομικό ρεκόρ 4-61, τέταρτη σε ευρωπαϊκό πρωτάθλημα κλειστού στίβου, Γιάννα Κλάτιτσουκ. Από την Ουκρανία, from Ukraine, Και από τη Φιλανδία, from Finland, τέταρτη σε ευρωπαϊκό πρωτάθλημα, τέταρτη και σε ευρωπαϊκό κλειστού, Έλληνα Λάμπελα.
Fourth round continues with Kira Wittmann. So pushing hard here. Don't feel she accelerated as much as previous, but maybe trying just to get that technique spot on. Was short of the board. It was a little conservative. Certainly felt that way. Again, straining, gurning her way through. So results just taking a couple of moments to come through. 13.85. So very slight improvement. What's come up on the results system that I have as 13.75 in fact, which would not be an improvement. And no wind indication being shown. I can tell you that Vikotopoulou improved to 12.73 though, which is her best all conditions jump so far. And she remains in 7th place. Dovile Kilty pushing hard through the phases. And that looks to be around 13.60. Oh no, that's a shame. Over that line again, the Lithuanian. So you're watching the Filothei Women Gala here. We're focusing on the jumps events. Triple jump to start. The pole vault just getting going, so we will bring you up to date on that in the next few moments. Includes a number of names you may have seen at the European Indoor Championships.
Negative win 0.7 στο άλμα της Λιθουανής αθλήτριας που ήταν άκυρο.
So Koroneva, she's 6 centimetres off the top three. 32 centimetres off the lead. So a bit of a break here. Perhaps the officials just sorting something. And she's waiting her moment. But yes, not too shabby, obviously, to get a personal best in the year she turns 33. Not that that's old, but it is more common to peak at a slightly earlier age, but all credit to her for doing so, and that is good. So close to 14 meters again. Continental, who also has a great long jump personal best of 6:43, 6:15 this year. Well, it's come up as a red flag once again, though, unfortunately. So Talos in third place, so just 1 centimetre off second and 26 centimetres off the lead. So 14.05 her best jump, 3.1 on the win for that, and then best wind legal jump 13.81 in the second round. So let's see what she can do in the fourth round here. You're watching live coverage of the Filothei Women Gala, part of the World Athletics Continental Tour on the European Athletics website. We're waiting here for Elena Andreea Talos, 30-year-old from Romania, Balkan indoor champion 9 years ago. She's jumped a wind legal 13.95 in Savona in Italy recently. So driving hard down this runway, foot looked to be over the line though. Do sometimes see in the second half of the competition athletes taking a few more risks and trying to get some reward from it. Just saw there she had a Rio 2016 Olympic logo tattoo on her ankle. Often you see the Olympic rings obviously, but got the specific design as well for Rio 2016, which is impressive. Obviously competing at those Olympics along with the World Championships in Beijing the year before. Best international results at senior level in terms of the top competitions coming, as I mentioned, at the Europeans in Berlin in 2018, where she was 4th. Olha Korsun, reigning Ukrainian champion, 28 years of age, 14.20 personal best. Another who was at the European Indoors in Apeldoorn in the Netherlands in March without making the final. Good speed here and gets those knees up really high. You can see there on that final phase. Oh, but frustrating again for her. Still, she's capable of over what she's done so far. Plus 3.7 on the wind. So, yes, the last few moments it has remained high. Compared to 3.1 for Talos, both with her best jump of 14.05 and in the fourth round, her last go. Now Ilona Masson again. So she's got a long jump PB of 6.12. She's just outside 12 seconds for 100 meters. Not too shabby for a triple jumper. Background as a pentathlete, as many athletes have. And heptathlon outdoors. So Masson the leader by 25 centimetres. Plus 5.6 in the wind, and then two jumps of 13.84 either side of that second round leading effort. Let's see what she can do here. Well, I think she's just waiting for a convenient moment for the wind. We sometimes see that in the pole vault, in fact, but if she can feel it swirling around, obviously she's already benefited from that great wind advantage. She would quite like it to be legal as well, so she can get a a good qualifying mark perhaps,
0,8, positive wind 0.8.
something that would help her. Would officially be part of rankings. So let's wait for these numbers to come up then for Maassen of Belgium. There we are, 13.98. So that is as well, plus 0.8, a wind legal personal best. And that's the sort of thing that she was after. So now she has kind of collectively a strong lead in the competition, as well as a personal best to come away from. And yeah, obviously no one could take that latter part away from her.
Αρχίζει πέμπτη προσπάθεια στο τριπλούν. Ελένη Νεκταρία Μαμά με τις τιμής 12.50 για τη δεκαετία.
So Eleni Nectaria Mama, the teenager, a little off her best. Trying to go over 13 meters for the first time this year. Oh, enters her run up late and then ducks out of it. And yeah, just obviously still 18 years of age, so just growing in experience. And this sort of competition like this, chance to compete against the top athletes in Greece, as well as other international entrants, is a really good opportunity for her to grow and learn from this. So obviously she moves us into the 5th round. And yeah, interesting that obviously 9 athletes in the competition, and poor old Gizim Akos, 3 fouls in each of the first 3 rounds, and hasn't continued jumping.
Αναστασία Βοκοτοπούλου, πέμπτη προσπάθεια στο τριπλούν με τις τιμής 12.73.
Vokotopoulou now. Let's see what she can do. There was a small improvement, 12.73, a few moments ago in round 4. Lots of space there on the board. I think she was concentrating on that foot placement. And lost out there in terms of distance.
Παραμένει βέβαια στο 12.73. Στο επικοντό πρώτη προσπάθεια στα 3.90 για την Αναστασία Μπουμπουλίδη. Στο τριπλούν πέμπτη προσπάθεια, fifth attempt, Κύρα Βίτμαν, Γερμανία. Με τιμής 13.85.
So Wittmann, it was 13.75 in the end. She remains in 5th place. Well, interesting, because I just looked over the roster result system and now it's changed back on there to 13.85. So very curious, because both the graphics display that you're seeing on screen and roster have both changed. And they continue to say different things. But perhaps we'll take roster as the correct one. Then she is in 5th place. Waiting though for this 5th round measurement.
Κύρα Βίτμαν
1366 and into a minus wind of 1.1.
Ντοβιλέ Κίλτη Λιθουανία
But that's her only wind legal jump so far, so that's what she'll come away with officially in terms of a non-windy result, if you like. Dovile Kilty. So in 6th place, 1383, 2 centimetres off Wittmann. That jump of 1383 in the 2nd round, plus 5.0 metres per second. That's her only valid measurement so far, so would probably like to get a wind legal measurement today. Let's see if she can do it in the 5th round here. So driving hard down this runway, looking to hit the board well. Unfortunately not though. I'm sure there will have been some element of the added wind providing a bit of a challenge. Likely to have been a factor adjusting. We have seen some athletes just checking a little bit before they really push on with their run up. Feeling their way through the wind.
Στον τριπλούν 5η προσπάθεια Οξάνα Κορένεβα μέχρι στιγμής 13.99. Πρώτη πάνω από τα 3.90 η Αναστασία Ρέτσα στο τριπλό. Με άνεμο συν
Koreneva in her 5th round effort. Yeah, continues to be, as she has been since the 2nd round, just 6 centimetres off the top 3. And also the top Greek athlete here. Even if this isn't her day, she's still having a great season with that 14:03 personal best. 1386 plus 1.8, so wind legal. And so her best wind legal jump so far had been 1356. She improves on that by 30 centimetres. 1399 with plus 2.7 wind, putting her in 4th still.
Στο τριπλό 5η προσπάθεια Έλενα Ανδρέα Τάλος, Ρουμανία. 12η προσπάθεια, Λιτό Κασοντάκη στα 3.90. Με άνεμο μείον 0,5, negative wind 0.5 για την Ρουμάνα αθλήτρια. $13.98, 13 meters, 98 centimeters.
Και περνάει Κασοντάκη το ύψος το επικοντόστατη προσπάθεια. We are ready for the presentation high jump. Please girls come to the lead well. Επίσης, να πούμε ένα πολύ μεγάλο ευχαριστώ. Όλος ο αθλητικός όμιλος Filotheis εργάζεται από το ΔΣ μέχρι και τους αθλητές και τις αθλήτριες που είναι εθελοντές αυτή τη στιγμή στο Filothei Gala. We are ready for the presentation in high jump women.
Άλμα εις ύψος γυναικών, παρουσίαση των αθλητριών που θα λάβουν μέρος στο αγώνισμα High Jump Women. Presentation of the participating athletes. Από την Κύπρο με ατομικό ρεκόρ 1.84, τρίτη σε παγκόσμιο πρωτάθλημα K20. Συγγνώμη, από την Κύπρο με ατομικό ρεκόρ 1.84, Δέσποινα Χαραλάμπους. Από την Κύπρο επίσης με ατομικό και φετινό 1.88, τρίτη σε παγκόσμιο πρωτάθλημα K20, στη Λιάννα Ιωαννίδου.
So Leonard Masson on the runway. Meanwhile, you can see the athletes have started to be introduced for the high jump. So there's two things happening at once.
Ατομικό ρεκόρ 1.94, Γιούλια Τσουματσένκο. 18 ετών από την Ουγγαρία.
So high jump beginning very shortly in the next few minutes. Masson, our leader in the triple jump, though. Important to concentrate on her. No mark, though, in the 5th round. Well, the orders remain the same for the last few rounds, I'm afraid. Athletes are trying to take a few more risks to improve their position, resulting in some fouls that are also difficult in these conditions. Early stages of the pole vault, and I think quite rightly to concentrate on what's been a fairly exciting long jump so far. Not everyone, of course, has entered the pole vault yet anyway, including most of the international names. This is Anastasia Boompalidi clearing at third time of asking 390 in the early stages of the competition. Fokotopoulou, I think she's just trying to adjust her run up, really. And she'll try and accelerate hard here. That's better now. Push through. There we go. Unfortunately, though, short of 13 metres.
Πρώτη σε παγκόσμιο πρωτάθλημα K20 στο άλμα εις ύψους αλλά και στο έπταθλο, δεύτερη σε κοινοπολιτιακούς αγώνες, πρώτη σε ευρωπαϊκό πρωτάθλημα K20.
Should say Eleni Nectaria Mama did not take her 6th round jump. So finishes with a best of 12.50. Did you hear that? The Greek announcer announcing in his native language, but breaks away to say last but not least.
Ηλικία μόλις 20 ετών, ατομικό ρεκόρ όπως είπαμε 1.98 και τι δεν έχει πάρει, πρώτη και τρίτη σε παγκόσμιο K20, δεύτερη και τρίτη σε ευρωπαϊκό γυναικών, δεύτερη σε ευρωπαϊκό κλειστού, πρώτη σε ευρωπαϊκό K20, πρώτη σε ευρωπαϊκό K18, Αγγελίνα Τόπιτς. Καλή επιτυχία στις αθλήτριες.
So 12.69 for Fokotopoulou there. Final round of that triple jump, no improvement. Just a few more jumps left to go. And we switched to the pole vault. Starting to move towards an important phase in it. Bar still appears to be at 390 then. Demet Parlak Anastasia Retzer, Murto Kasataki, Anastasia Bumpalidi, all clear. So this then, the bar just moved up now, I can see, to 4:05. So this is Murto Kasataki failing there. I believe that's the first attempt at 4 meters and 5. What's helpful, the organisers have given us the height progression on their website, so we know that the bar is going to go up to 4:20 next. But most of the athletes will enter at 4:05, it appears, if that information is correct. I can see that everyone should be in the competition at this height. DNS for Alina Amalia Floru Dimitriadou. And we've lost, unfortunately, Milena Postica, who no-heighted. 3 failures at 370, which was actually her season's best. So maybe unfortunate that was the opening height. Maybe it was always going to be difficult. Personal best is 4 meters. Bumpalidi now goes clear straight away at 4:05. Look at that. Maybe just has found her rhythm, made an adjustment, and feels much more comfortable. Does have a personal best at 4:25, but yeah, she's just 17 years of age. And she won the European Under-18 title in Banska Bystrica last summer. So she becomes the first athlete who is clear, and this is Demet Parlak, the 28-year-old from Turkey. Obviously, you would expect to see a number of athletes from around the Mediterranean and the Balkan states. Parlak won the Balkan indoor title 9 years ago. There we are, just a bit of a hesitation on that climb, and she has to take evasive action as the pole comes down. Let's have another look here. Climbing high, you can see trying to get legs over, most of her body over. And she is a bit unfortunate in the end. She wasn't looking at that crucial moment, but all good. Right, Dovile Kilty in the triple jump here. So as we know, we're in the final round. And she's in 6th place. Only 2 centimetres off the positional improvement. She's got that one jump from the second round. Was measured at 1383. Plus 5.0 metres per second wind. And she's trying to call on those spectating. Encourage her here in this final round. Last go. Let's see what she can do. Can she get closer to 14 metres? Tries to give everything. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to be an improvement today. So with Mama having retired, Bukotapulu having had her final round jump, Kilty will finish in 6th position with 1383. Wittmann with 1340, by the way, no improvements. And Koreneva about to have her last go. And Talos, Korsun and Masson after that. So Koreneva, 1399 windy and 1386 wind legal, but unfortunately not going to change that in this final round. So although it doesn't matter too much, we do indeed know who'll finish in the top three. And Elena Andreea Talos of Romania will be in that third position. Only thing she can do is go higher. So 1 centimetre has separated her and Corson since the first round. They were first and second initially. They're now second and third. So come on, Elena Andreea, let's see what you can do. But I have a feeling that was very, very close on the line. Oh, I just wonder whether it is over the board ever so slightly. It's a shame, a real shame, if so. So is this going to be the white flag? Waiting for that indication. So Talos of Romania, let's have a look at this measurement. It is legal, thank goodness for that. It's 14.19 and the wind is only 1.6. Made us wait for it, but it was worth it in the end. It cuts the lead and it's a season's best. So really strong result, over 14 metres for the first time this year for the former Balkan champion. She'll be very pleased with that, really. Maybe the only athlete so far that's maximised the opportunity brought to her by the final round. So it means that Corson is pushed down to third place. She really won't mind about that too much, I suspect. But what she may mind about is not having a wind legal measurement from this competition. 14.06 plus 3.4, then 13.90 plus 2.4 from the first and second round, and then XXX next to her name, which sounds like a text message with from a loved one, but actually she'd quite like to have a legal measurement. Really pushing hard there into the board, but yeah, unfortunately this isn't going to be too noteworthy a measurement. $13.43 for Corson, plus 2.7 on the wind. So Masson comes away with a victory from today's meeting. $14.31 plus 5.6 on the win from the second round. And then $13.98, a personal best, plus 0.8 on the win there. There was no triple jump at this event last year. Masson on the event's return, the winner, and that again is close to 14 metres. So the music pumping through the stadium, keeping the adrenaline up. 13.91 there for Masson. So yeah, another jump that was over her personal best before today, and as we know, she's gone over to 13.98 now PB in the fourth round, and 14.31 all conditions best, and that will take some beating. You're watching this women's gala event, Filothei Women's Gala in Athens. It's a World Athletics Continental Tour silver event. This is the live stream on the European Athletics website. We have the pole vaults underway. We last time saw the bar at 4 meters and 5. Can tell you that now we have 3 athletes who have gone clear. Back to that in a moment. We're going to focus on the high jump next. This is possibly one of the best known names in the high jump. It's Yulia Chumachenko, and yes, unlucky in the last few years because there's quite a few Ukrainian women, as you might expect, who are taking up the international selections opportunities. Levchenko, and then more recently Mahuchik and Heroshenko. But Chumachenko, who's over 180 here, 30 years of age now, she did at least get the title at the World University Games in Naples in 2019. And the Balkan Championships in 2020, she won that indoor title. As well as that, she's been at the European indoors and outdoors, but hasn't made too much of an impression, not qualifying for the final, when I'm sure she would be capable of doing that. But it can be difficult to be consistently over 190 and higher in the high jump. And you know, sometimes in qualification we see athletes are a little bit fortunate in that, let's say you have 12 or 13 more athletes over a decent height and they all go through to the final. And sometimes just that little bit extra is needed, and things are very close between going in and missing out. Tatiana Gusin then, so she's been part of a number of these Greek meetings recently, as you might expect, including in Hania, where she jumped a season's best of 188. So we can see here that the bar is going to go up to 184 and then 88 and then up by 3 centimeters and up by 2 centimeters thereafter. So Angelina Topic, apologies, I haven't mentioned her name yet, but she's the standout athlete here, despite being one of the youngest, but obviously with a number of European medals already to her name. Truba from Czechia. Former World Under-20 champion, personal best of 195. She's 1 centimetre off that this year, but joins a group of athletes over at 180. Now, also a few days ago in Hania, battling with Gusin was the Cypriot athlete Stiliana Ioannidou, a World Under-20 medalist in 2021 in Nairobi, and she is one of the other athletes, clear at 180, Maria Vukovic. Vukovic, who got Montenegro's first European outdoor medal, and a silver a few years ago, so she's also now clear. The others over are Liliana Batori of Hungary, another one of the teenagers involved, and Despoina Charalambous of Cyprus. Here is the now quite recognisable figure of Angelina Topic. And as you expect, she makes it over quite easily at this height of 180. So, a walk in the park, really. This low height for her, you'd say. Her national record, 198. You may have heard the announcer mentioning her parents, Dragutin and Biljana. Obviously, great high jumper and triple jumper in their own right, respectively. Dragutin Topic for the 1990 European champion and a holder of World Junior and World Masters records. And yes, it was 2022, her breakthrough season, really. More on that in a moment. This is Tatiana Gusin, the Greek athlete. She was second here last year, by the way, so she certainly does support these Greek meetings. And very, very strong there. Had height to spare. That's just a bit of a surprise that she didn't make it over at the first time at 180. You can imagine that's probably quite a hot surface to land on, I'm sure, given that it appears to be baked in the sun, that part of the arena. As triple jump and certainly pole vault appears more shaded. Anyway, Anastasia Bumpalidi at 420 we've gone up to now, as the bar is reset.
Εργάστηκε επί σειρά ετών στην Κεντρική Τράπεζα της Ελλάδος. Ασκεί κοφή κατά ταμείας στο Σωματείο Γυμναστικός Σύλλογος Ίκαρος Νέας Ιωνίας.
Katerina Stefanidi, I mentioned a previous winner, and her as an Olympic European world champion, I'm sure, would have a big, big effect on inspiring a new generation of pole vaulters. And someone who's 17 years of age, like Anastasia Bumpalidi, may well be part of that generation. And I'm sure Stefanidi, who I know has tuned in to a number of the European athletics live streams of age group European competitions, would have been very pleased to hear that news of the gold medal at under 18 level in Slovakia last year. So Bumpalidi. And obviously this is a complex technical event to master. Even if, well, some of the throws events, we often say that, but they tend to see a peak in later years. You can see the spring and gymnastic ability and the speed and agility that's involved. But yeah, something like the hammer, you might expect athletes to peak well into their 30s, but a bit younger, you'd say, certainly for the pole vaults. Bumpalidi doing well so far, and yeah, 420 is 1 centimetre off a season's best in Piraeus recently, and 5 centimetres off a personal best in Athens last year.
Είναι μέλος του Γυμναστικού Συλλόγου Μεγαλόπουλου Σλίκια, όπου εκτελεί και καθήκον αντιπροέδρου. Είναι μέλος της Επιτροπής Ανάπτυξης και Συνεργασίας της Ένωσης των Ευρωπαϊκών Ολυμπιακών Ακαδημιών, ενώ στο ΣΕΓΑΣ υπηρετεί ως συντονίστρια στην Επιτροπή Επιμόρφωσης και Επιστημονικής Υποστήριξης, ενώ παράλληλα είναι αναπληρώτρια εκπρόσωπος του ΣΕΓΑΣ στην Ελληνική Ολυμπιακή Επιτροπή. Για τη βράβευση παρακαλείται η ταμείας του Συλλόγου Φιλοθέης, κυρία Λίλη Ξένου. Κοντεύουμε. Η επόμενη
βράβευση από αυτήν την κυρία Κυριακή Γαλάνη, μέλος του Δουσού Σέγας. Η κυρία Γαλάνη είναι δημόσιος υπάλληλος και εργάζεται στην περιφέρεια Αττικής. Είναι πτυχιούχος του ΤΕΠΑ του Ελληνικού Καποδιστριακού Πανεπιστημίου με ειδικότητα στις άρχες βαρών. Διατέλεσε προπονήτρια στην εθνική ομάδα άρχες
Well, the Greek broadcast ERT just interviewing
το 2018.
Continental following that triple jump result, a holder of Greek titles, 6 of them in fact, and celebrating a number of the successful Greek female athletes. And it's nice to see a female-centered competition. Obviously we have seen that with some innovations recently over the last couple of years. Most notably Alexis Ohanian's Athlos women's track and field event. And I believe it's been expanded this year to include field as well, with long jump being the inaugural one, and Tara Davis-Woodall involved in that. And obviously Grand Slam track, just by nature a track event. So yeah, lots of competition to keep one's eye on over the last few weeks really. We've seen performances all around the world. Gusin clearing now at 184 then. And looked like a bit of relief for her. So the next height she'll be trying to match her season's best from Hania just 9 days ago. So nice clearance that, moving back then to the pole vault. So bar, we believe, still at 420 now. This is Ariadne Adamapoulou. This is her entry into the competition. Got 6 athletes still jumping, but that doesn't include those who've yet to enter. So 6 athletes currently vaulting. In the high jump, still quite a big field. I think we've still got 9 athletes involved, and Morgan Lake has yet to enter. So Maria Vukovic over at 184 as well. So she joins Chumachenko, Thruba, Batori, Gusin, Stiliana Ioannidou of Cyprus with 1 failure at this height. So too her Cypriot compatriot Despoinou Charalambos. Here comes Morgan Lake for the first time in this competition, and a good start to the competition. So Lake, the British athlete, obviously quite experienced now at international level. She's had 13 top 8 finishes across Olympics, World European Championships and Commonwealth Games, including indoor World and European events. Silver medal at the Commonwealth Games in 2018.
Αφού ολοκληρωθούν οι δοκιμαστικές προσπάθειες, τα δοκιμαστικά άλματα για τις αθλήτριες του άλματος της Μύκος, 10 αθλήτριες θα λάβουν μέρος, θα έχουμε την παρουσίαση και μετά την έναρξη του αγωνίσματος.
Now on to Angelina Topic. So you would expect this to be straightforward. Again, it is. Same result.
Πολύ εύκολο το 1.84
Για να ροκάρουμε τώρα. Αρχίσανε τα ψηλά στο άλμα σε ύψος.
Ελίνα Λάμπελα, Φιλανδία, 4.20. Τα αθλήτριες έχουν περάσει ήδη το 1.84. Αρχίζει η δεύτερη προσπάθεια, Δέσποινα Χαραλάμπους, Κύπρος.
Oh, Charalambos, one of the 2 Cypriots that we've mentioned, but I believe that's her second failure at this site, unfortunately. We talk quite a lot on these live streams about how Cyprus have had an improvement over the last few years. They had a double podium at the European Under-18 Championships in 2022 in Jerusalem, which obviously wasn't too far to travel, similar as it is here. But yes, women's and men's high jumping looking quite strong for Cyprus, along with hammer throwing particularly. Obviously at that event 3 years ago, Sava and Kassidis, Valentina Sava and Josef Kassidis, winning men's and women's hammer between them, and they're now rising through to the senior ranks.
Κύπρος, τρίτη προσπάθεια στο 1.84.
Charalambos, though, bringing the bar down, the Cypriot at 184. Well, Topic won this event last year with 194. Morgan Lake was also involved, as was Chimachenko and Gusin. So interesting that athletes have a good experience maybe the competition and decide to come back, which is nice to see. I think it's nice for the event to build those relationships with athletes, particularly if they are international medalists. This is the first time we've seen the long jump then. Obviously, triple jump concluded earlier. Massen of Belgium, 14:31. Windy jump. I wonder whether the wind has come down at all. Well, you can see they're way over from Gorka. Adriana Gorka. Personal best of 6:55. Greek long jump record of 7:03. But yeah, a number of really strong jumpers in this. And then, yeah, if you expand to include Cyprus as well, you've got a nice contingent in the high jump as well. So, effectively, the Greek-speaking athletes you'd anticipate doing well across all events. And often a strong bond between the Greek and Cypriot competitors, as we know, of course, from the Eurovision Song Contest. Ioannidou, unfortunately, doesn't get 12 points for that jump, though. Bar coming down at 184 again. Oh, 188, in fact, we've moved up to for Ioannidou. So let's have a look then. Bar up to 188. And only athlete who's dropped out of the competition is Despina Charalambos. And obviously we saw that third failure at 184. So 8 still involved. And this is the young Hungarian once again. Liliana Bátori. So we've got 2 of the European Under-18 champions from last year. Obviously, a pole vaulter, Pumpalidi, and Bátori here in the high jump. So she is still the national under-20 record holder with 193. So that was achieved in Banska Bystrica, but not at the outdoors last year at the Europeans, but instead indoors, also an indoor venue there. So it was set in February, 193. She was also 4th last year at the World Under-20 Championships, which were held in Lima. So now we've got 3 events ongoing simultaneously. Long jump, high jump, pole vault. This is the middle of those 3. Chumachenko of Ukraine. Perfect record so far from her 2 jumps, 180 and 184. Thruba, Lake and Topic also have perfect records. Gusin with 1 failure, so too Batory and Vukovic. But she joins that latter group then. Well, that's a tough height. She hasn't cleared it yet this year. I think obviously, you know, we've seen Yaroslava Mahuchik break the world record last year, and before that we'd seen a number of other athletes, including Mirela Demirova, Mariela Sitskina, consistently go close and over 2 meters. But sometimes you have to respect these bars, and I think that's often a phrase used by high jumpers, respecting those heights and not just thinking, well, it's less than 190, I can get over it easily. Even if you're someone like Morgan Lake with a personal best of 199, you can be caught out by 188. All too easy to do. Batory, though, and to gain experience here. She had an earlier failure and she passed second attempt at quite an early height in the competition. Proved to be a good decision. Sometimes you can get bogged down in early failures. Retsa, this is in the pole vault, so no one has gone clear yet at 430. Just checking in to see that the bar is still at 420, or whether it's moved up to 430. We lost a few athletes. Postica, Kladichuk of Ukraine, Kasataki as well of Greece. Retsa, that was her 3rd time failure at 420, I believe. Parlak has done the same. So it means we've now just got 5 athletes left in the vault, and we can go up to 430 from this point onwards. Gusin at 188, the Greek. And she does make it over. And yeah, just like in Hania, she appeared consistent on home soil, and she's matched her season's best. Well, it's always nice for the organisers when a local athlete does well, and indeed those watching on. It's one of the reasons that you try and provide a strong competition. Truba, though, oh, that was unlucky. That was probably the closest failure that we've seen, and another obviously who did have a perfect record before this height. Okay, we've seen a lot of Bumpalidi, 17-year-old, but she continues here, and she's aiming for a personal best now. Obviously eligible for the European Under-20 Championships this year. So Bumpalidi at 430, uncharted territory. Oh, but she does get over the 17-year-old. That is fantastic. And again, another big reason to cheer for the organisers and for her team as well. I'm sure that will be considered one of the headlines from this competition. So those who've gone above this height, who are under 20 in Europe this year, there are only 4 athletes who've done that. Led by Elise de Jong, the European Under-20 list, 450, in fact. Another Dutch athlete, Marijn Kieft, Keizer Roth, of Sweden and Alika Moser of Estonia. Interesting to have another athlete called Moser in the pole vault. Obviously, Angelica Moser, the Swiss, one of the best in the world. Here comes Morgan Lake. I would also like to be considered one of the best in the world. Been concentrating on the high jump specifically for around a decade now, having previously been a heptathlete. So Morgan Lake going clear at 188, and that means she should be on for a solid result here. So continuing to switch between these two events. This is Adamopoulou going clear at 4:30 as well. So Topic in the high jump now. Let's see if she can join them. Indeed she can. She was just slightly off to the right there rather than central, but you can see there's just so much height to spare. It's just been plain sailing. Just gets so much spring off the ground. See, whilst just a little close to this right hand side. Nothing she can't correct. So the Cypriot athlete Styliana Ioannidou, again looking to match what she did in Hania a few days ago. It was a personal best as well earlier this month. The 21-year-old who studied to Illinois University in the States. It was a 1 centimetre personal best. It had been that it was 187 from the World Under-20 Championships in Nairobi 4 years ago, where she got a bronze medal. And yeah, that's quite some time not to break your PB. So I'm sure she had some testing moments in between those 4 years, and will be very, very pleased to be edging her way closer to 190. Let's see if she does remain in the competition at higher heights. Chumachenko. Still 8 athletes left in. It's perhaps one of the stronger fields across the 4 jumps events. Chumachenko, steely, determined, focused eyes here. Edges back for the run-up, curves her way round. Took off quite close to the bar. And she faces a bit of a fight to stay in. Elina Lampela, the Finn. So has made a habit of clearing it the second time of asking. What about the first time here? And the bar does just stay up. So obviously Wilma Murto winning the European title in Munich a couple of years ago, and Lampena has consistently been selected over the last few years for most of the major championships, even if she hasn't made the final, but she's been making steady progress year on year and has gained sponsorship and support while she's done that, and improving to 470 in Appledorn, just missing out on a medal, same as in Rome last year at the European Outdoors, and making the Olympic final as well. So back to the long jump we go now. So let's check in and see how things are going. Results not quite coming through at the moment. may well be that they were just warming up before.
Δεύτερη προσπάθεια, second attempt high jump women, 1.88, 1.88, Μιχαήλα Κρούμπα, Τσεχία. Τρίτη σειρά στα 50 μέτρα.
So we'll be back with the long jump soon.
Πάμε κορίτσια.
Key stage of the high jump though, Thruba.
Να πούμε ότι οι προπονητές
Oh, I think that previous attempt was close, I'm afraid.
δουλεύουν καθημερινά, προπονούν τα παιδιά. Επίσης,
Thruba finding 188 tricky. So Morgan Lake, Angelina Topic, Tatiana Gustin, all clear at this height. And Chumachenko, Thruba, Batory all have one more attempt. Vukovic and Ioannidou have one more attempt.
Άλμα επικοντός, αρχίζει η τρίτη προσπάθεια.
Two more attempts, I should say. Difficult to keep across it all. Three events happening at once.
Άλμα εις ύψος, Μαρίγια Βούκοβιτς,
Vukovic with the Olympic rings
1.88.
around her neck there. So again, curving this run-up round. Just didn't achieve full acceleration. I think she was being a little bit cautious there, similar to that previous jump. I made the same comment. It's a difficult skill, really, because you've got to accelerate and build up that energy while also keeping it controlled, so that you're ready at that key moment to jump and, transfer that energy at the right time.
Hungary, all ball.
στη Γιάννα Ιωαννίδου πάει να ισοφαρίσει το ατομικό της ρεκόρ που έκανε πρόσφατα στα Χανιά. Το 1.88 στο ύψος.
She knows she did this a few days ago.
Οι αθλήτριες μέχρι στιγμής πάνω από τα 4.30 στο άλμα επικοντό.
World Under 20 medalist.
Σωτηρία Ράπτη, πρώτη προσπάθεια στο μήκος, με άνεμο συν 3,2.
And one of the emerging Cypriot talents in athletics. Having a good season. I wonder if today is going to be another defining moment along that journey. Has to clear this height first. Competitive field. Perhaps they're pushing each other on. Oh. Had to duck underneath.
Σήμερα το 1,88. Στο άλμα επικοντό πήγε στα 4 μέτρα και 38 εκατοστά.
That's frustrating for her, I'm sure. You know, put all that thought into trying to get everything so precise. I wonder if sometimes you can overthink as well. Anastasia Bumpalidi. Well, we're going up to 4:38, it appears. So let's just check in then.
Από Ιραζίδη, πρώτο άλμα με άνεμο μείον 0,7.
So Hanga Klekner has cleared 4:30, third time of asking. Lampola we saw clear. Bumpalidi has gone clear. Kitty Fay has passed. And Adamopoulou is also clear. So again, we've been given by the organisers the progression, and whereas we were just going up by 15 and then by 10 centimetres, now we go up by 8, and then it will be 7 and then 5
Να προσέξετε ειδικά τώρα
from 4:52 to 4:57 if we get there
για την Αναστασία Μπουπουλίδη που θα κάνει το πρώτο της άλμα.
before 45 in between, of course. So 4:38, I mean, this would be very, very impressive, because it would mean that Bumpalidi would have extended her personal best by 13 centimetres in this very competition today. Of course, she may have vaulted high in training, but yes, it's always going to be a challenge. She may have to switch a pole to one that she doesn't use as often. As we go up these high heights, I'm sure she'll have some good coaching advice there alongside. So a little bit of a breakthrough performance for Bumpalidi. So remember that name, as of course we have those European Under-20 Championships in August. Same too for Batory, but unfortunately this bar proves too much today. But you can see she's a tall athlete with great spring, you know, similar stature to Mahuchik, you might say, who obviously broke through when she was 16, 17. So impressive. And Mahuchik has continued to not only win some of the age group titles, but also really excel at the very top level year after year to this point. Some real talents there to look up to. Adriana Goga in the long jump then. So yes, they were warming up before, I believe, because the results are starting to come through, showing as the first round. 6:33 for Goka, a very early lead. Rapti 6:30. Truba trying to stay in the competition. Oh, she checked her run up and then cleared brilliantly. So well done to an athlete who was very close with the first attempt. Not as close with the second. A very slight pause there. Had the athleticism. And really strong jump. She may not consider it a perfect jump. I have a feeling she won't, but she knows she did what she needed to do. Over to you, Maria Vukovic. Vukovic, one of the more experienced athletes here, but been around a number of years. Remember her winning a European under-20 silver medal 16 years ago. Unfortunately, doesn't look like it's going to be her day, though. As you can see, 3 failures at 188. An athlete with a personal best of 197. And has cleared 190 this year. Outdoors. Some great international fields in the high jump and pole vault, and yes, maybe not the same caliber in this long jump, but still some good talents to watch out for. They include Malika Gardashevich, a Serbian, 691 personal best from a couple of years ago. Often a little bit overshadowed by some of the other Serbian jumpers, obviously, including Topic, who does do long jump as well. And Bessie going straight through here. So the 27-year-old this is, Natalia Bessie, another who improved her personal best in Alexandria 3 days ago, 6:62. And it was 6:38 before this year. She's improved on that 3 times in 2025. As I mentioned, though, a number of strong Greek competitors, including Goka, 6:55 personal best. Poidazidi, 6:35. Rapti, 6:33. And, you know, still big gap to that Greek record from 2002 European Indoor Champion Nikki Xanthou, 7:03. Boom Palidi trying to go third on the European under-20 list this year. I think it might be a tall order. She should be very happy with that 4:30 personal best. You're sort of at the mercy sometimes of what the increments are going up by as to where you fit on the list, of course. But let's have a look if Tatiana Gusin can get over 191 for a season's best. So just missed out on this a few days ago, the 31-year-old. And she just misses out with the first attempt, but she knows it's there and she wants to keep on jumping. Well, she was second here last year on countback, and yeah, I'm sure, just like she did in Hania and like she did 12 months ago, she will push the best to try and get the victory, try and stick with them at the sharp end of the competition. Adamopoulou here brings the bar down at 4:38 though, and bounces off the surface. Adriana Gocca still leading the long jump in the first round with 6:33 by 3 centimeters. Mihaela Hruba just stayed in, the Czech athlete. She moves up to 191 as well, approaching from this left side. The time should still be available for her to reset, refocus the wind. I wonder whether it's cutting across this high jump bed. It was a bit of a challenge for the triple jumpers, but Hruba refocusing. This is a good competition here. Don't go anywhere. Hruba at 191. Fortunately not. And it's always difficult to reset like that, especially when you know that time may be running out. Gardasevic, the Serbian who was mentioned. Yeah, we've had some great jumpers over the last few years, including Teodora Boboric come through the European competitions. And Gardasevic quietly improved that personal best. Maybe has gone a little bit unnoticed, such as the exploits of Topic. I think it's Ivana Ilic as well, a multi-talented sprinter who has got some medals over the last few years as well. But yeah, particularly on the women's side, a really good contingent that's come through to challenge Morgan Lake. Let's have a look. 191. Oh, and she's also unlucky and knows it. Squinting into the sunlight there. So Morgan Lake twice achieving a 194 so far this year. Solid result for her. The British record holder, of course. So we continue with 3 simultaneous events. Topic, hands on hips, looking impatient. I don't think she necessarily is. She's just focused and wants to get on then with this jump. The entry standard for the World Athletics Championships is a high 197, and yeah, I guess you have to consider that at the very top level, obviously they're pushing 210, so sometimes you feel as though it does skew things. It certainly skews things, I feel, when you have a big depth of 1 or 2 countries at the very sharp end, but they can only send a couple of athletes. That's not necessarily the case in the high jump, but at the very top level, as we see, Topic also have to reset. Obviously without being exactly on the very spot the athletes are, and without being inside their heads, you don't know exactly what they're dealing with and whether the conditions are in any sense a factor in what we've seen from Hruba and now Topic. Adamopoulou, another athlete we've seen a lot of in this pole vault here. She's trying to stay in the competition, so this may be the last time we see her, unless she can improve. She's been the leader throughout because others have entered late and have passed through heights and have even had some failures, some of the top internationals. So she's doing really well in that competition. Adamopoulou at 4:38. Here goes. Oh, unfortunately, Bart coming off quite early there, just at the start of that descent. Well, she's an athlete who's gone over 4:46 this year. So, someone who's won the last 2 Greek indoor titles. She was 4th here last year with 4:38. So, it's going to be a similar position, you might say. Hanga Kleckner also trying to stay in the competition. Alina Lampola watching on. So Kleckner and Lampola with 2 failures at 4:38. Bumpalidi out of the competition. As is Adamopoulou, as we saw, but fires past to the next height. Of course, no guarantee that she would clear at 4:45. So Lampoula and Kleckner in a tricky spot, but still very possible they could win the competition. Gusin still all open to her at the moment. Topic's failure. She does make it though. Tatiana Gusin. Oh, and she absolutely loves it. And that will be, I'm sure, one of the headlines for the Greek papers. It's a season's best of 191, 3 centimetres off the 31-year-old's personal best. Well, she's twice achieved 194 in the past, 2019 and then again last year. But look, she gave that bar a rattle, but consistently she gets lots of height each time. And she's technically very, very solid. Well, Goka was leading this long jump, but there was an improvement from Agathe de Souza, the Portuguese athlete, to 660. So, yeah, quite a considerable jump up in distance overall in this competition. Goka now in 4th because Rapti's improved. Got a personal best of 637. That's wind legal as well. So is de Souza's jump. And then Lesti, not wind legal, plus 4.1 on a 634 for the Hungarian. Quite a good Hungarian contingent here as well. As the Batory and Kleckner both doing well here today. Goka in 4th on 633, second round. Now good spring and good transfer of energy into the sandpit. As she looks over. But unfortunately, it's a red flag. Tilde Johansson, a Swedish starlet a few years ago, she struggled with injuries. A multi-eventer, 6:15 in 5th place. Someone who's still a Swedish junior record holder, even though she's no longer a junior. Morgan Lake getting so many junior titles because she was very much multi-talented at a young age. Obviously focusing on the high jump, as I say, in the last decade. 199 personal best. Doesn't mean you can match it every day of the week, though, of course. And people have become very expectant of Morgan Lake to try and get over 2 meters. But look, she's doing a great job here so far. And joins Gusin over 191. You're watching live coverage of the Filothei Women's Gala. It's the 4 jumps events on display in Athens. It's a World Continental Tour Silver event, streamed live on the European Athletics website. And don't forget to keep an eye on social media channels and the website for future streams, whether they be on YouTube or embedded on the site itself. So I believe that's Bumpalidi, who'll be very pleased, I hope, with their 4:30. Personal best in the pole vault. Right, we haven't really seen Kitty Filothei. One reason is because she passed at the previous height. Bar going up to 4:45. As we see Topic there, the bar comes down again. Bit of a surprise. Director cutting to that quickly, but I'm glad he did because it was a key moment. Well, I'm sure we'll be back with the pole vault soon. But long jump next. Best seat. 4:49 only so far. not representative of what she's capable of. That was the walkthrough that we saw, really. Sometimes it's still good to get a jump, especially at the European Team Championships, which we'll see later this month. If you can get your foot behind the board and in 4 meters, it will be a point, which is better than nothing for a foul. Thruber stayed in by the skin of her teeth, looking to do so again, and she's close each time, but just having a look here, I believe that must be her third failure at 191. So Ioannidou going out at the previous height, which would have equaled a personal best. Same with Vukovic going out at 188. As we see, Bessie was 6 meters there. I'll just quickly wrap up how things do stand in the high jump, because I think it's important. Batory also out, as is Chumachenko at 188. Druba out at 191. So suddenly, having had 8 jumpers in, we now have just Topic, Goosen and Lake all clear. Lake and Goosen clear 191. Topic one more attempt, I believe. Johansson was 615 so far in the lower placings, but that should be better. So it's all happening here. So it means that straight on with Topic at 191, third attempt. Set for third place as things stand, but not a position she's used to finishing unless at the very, very top level. Finished there during that breakthrough season I mentioned in Munich in 2022. After that breakthrough to win the European Under-18 Championships. So quite rare to be on both podiums. She does do it though. She has enough experience, enough talent. And look at that relief. You can see she's got Jaffa cakes on her vest there. I've never seen that before, but assuming that is the official product, and perhaps it's one of her favourite snacks. Certainly she probably wouldn't mind some after this competition, after a bit of a slog at 191. But you have to say that now she remains a threat, remains very much a danger, and probably remains favourite to win this competition. In spite of the relative ease that Lake and Goosen have found at this very height. Gardasevic, the Serbian. Promise we'll be with the pole vault soon, because the field rapidly diminishing. Adamopoulou remaining the leaders despite being out with 3 failures at 4:38, as we saw, because no one is over 4:45. Faye passing the previous height and 1 failure at 4:45. Bumpalidi still in third despite being out. Lampola also out at 4:38. 3 failures, and Kleckner as well. So that's the big news, really. I said that they could both still win the competition, but Lampola and Kleckner, who came in later, having more failures initially, and therefore being equal 3rd and 5th respectively. So, yeah, Adamopoulou with a best of 4:30. She looks to be the winner, unless Faye can do anything about it in her next 2 attempts at 4:45. And therefore the pass would pay off. Gardasevic. I wonder if that got the white flag. We're not seeing that immediately afterwards. We're having to wait for the replay here. Oh, that, I hope that should be good enough. There won't be much in it. Going to give that the proverbial benefit of the doubt. Gardasevic, the winner here last year with 673. And jumping 659. Wind legal. So very positive result there, following that earlier walkthrough. So now I can see, wow, a bit of a shame that we're not going up to 194 to challenge the personal best of Goosen. In any case, go for 193, 1 centimetre below her PB. 1 centimetre below what she achieved last year. So obviously different increments 12 months ago. Whatever happens, she's got a 3 centimetre season's best. What can she do? She's been technically very, very solid. Curves that run up and drives her way over, but bar does come down. But you can see just how much enthusiasm she's giving this competition. Well, you feel that this height should still be relatively comfortable for Topic. Let's see whether that's the case. Following that little wobble at 191. We could see 2 Serbian victories out of 4 events. Oh, Rapti with a PB. Another Greek athlete getting a PB. She's 21 years of age. She's the reigning Greek indoor long jump and triple jump champion. But we also have last year's Greek indoor long jump champion, Maria Stefanopoulou. Back to the high jump. Morgan Lake here. Trying to do something that Gusin could not, and she can. Morgan Lake over at 194 for the 3rd time this year. So consistency so hard to find in the high jump, but thus far recently she's doing what she needs to do. Great reach over, made sure there was good space between her and the bar. So Morgan Lake, 3 centimetres now off the world qualifying standard, the World Athletics qualifying standard. Resti watching on her previous jump as we see Topic in the high jump. So this is the event to be focusing on. 3-way battle. Just to reiterate, by the way, that yes, 197, the UKA entry standard for the World Champs in Tokyo in September, but 194, the B standard for British athletes. So if they are in a ranking position, then that will be good enough to be considered. So Morgan Lake obviously has that twice this year coming into this. Topic at 193. No, she's not looking to have full flow and rhythm over the last few moments. Apologies, by the way, if I said it was 194. I kind of got stuck in the habit of the 3 centimetre increments. But yes, had obviously mentioned just before that it was 193. But yes, I think I might have said it was the 3rd clearance of the year at 194 for Morgan Lake. It's 193. In any case, she does have 194 recently. I said we had the last 2 years of Greek indoor long jump champions, Rapti, who is seen, and Stefanopoulou, who is seeing now. Goka, who we viewed before that, is the Greek outdoor champion currently. Gusin got a game face on here. So 193, even though it wouldn't be a personal best, would still be one of the best clearances by a Greek athlete in history. Tries to summon herself up for the remaining attempt. One more attempt.
Filothei Gala είναι silver κατηγορία World Athletics Continental Tour. Διοργάνωσε αθλητικός όμιλος Filotheis με τη μεγάλη συνεργασία και υποστήριξη του Δήμου Φιλοθέης Ψυχικού υπό την αιγίδα του ΣΕΓΑΣ και της Παγκόσμιας Ομοσπονδίας.
Με επικοντό τρίτη και τελευταία προσπάθεια. Τετατέμ Κίτι Αυγούστα Φίλε Φάγε, Νορβηγία Νόρβουντ 4:45. Πόμιτες 45. All for women.
Μάγια Πέτρατς, το χειροκρότημά σας, στο μήκος, έχει 6-11.
Well, this is obviously a different story of competition and three-way battle in the high jump. But here we've got an athlete who's passed up to 4:45. Filothei trying to clear the Norwegian to see if she can win the competition today. Ah, you can see the frustration. It wasn't that close in the end. Bar coming down early. And I think that's the first vault we've seen her today, but out at 4:45, and might have paid off but hasn't, and it means that Adamopoulou, one of 5 athletes who cleared 4:30, does win on countback because she didn't have any failures before that height. So fascinating how the pole vault can go sometimes. Goose in at 193. Lake already clear. What can the Greek athlete do? Oh, you had to back her. And I'm sure she backed herself, but not to be today. She'll come away with a season's best. What is the second place for now? But expecting a Topic to still have a final go. She's actually passed through to the next height, which I believe will be 195. And that may be a sensible thing to do, but as we've been saying in the last few moments, has just been little off her very best. And if Morgan Lake could beat Angelina Topic, then it would be a bit of a scalp to claim.
Morgan Lake είναι 95 στο ύψος, πρώτη προσπάθεια.
Oh, well done to Bumper Lady. A third place finish, a personal best, and putting her right up there in the top 5 on the European Under-20 list this year. And yeah, beating some experienced athletes, Kleckner and Lampeler, 4th at the European Indoors and Outdoors last year. And the victory, though, for Adamopoulou, and best of 5 athletes all over 4:30. Very, very close, and fascinating how that competition played out, with 5 passing 4:38, where everyone struggled, but she couldn't make it over 4:45. As you can see, the bar up to 195. Morgan Lake leading the competition, but Topic has passed up to this height, going up by just 2 centimetres now. So this would be a season's best for Morgan Lake. It would be 4 centimetres off her national record. So an athlete that's been looking for that consistency, as hard as that can be to achieve in the high jump, as we know. Let's see, approaching this bar from the left-hand side, and she does make it over. Oh, wow, and she says to Angelina Topic, well, whatever you can do, I can go one higher. Look at this. Fantastic technique, making sure, again, good distance between her and the bar, which does get a slight rattle there. And applauding here as spectators watching on. Clap for her as well. So really strong that from Morgan Lake. And now Topic does have to raise her game. Obviously, we've seen her do that on so many occasions. She is so hugely talented, considering she's just 19 years of age, European outdoor and indoor silver medalist, 198 at best. It's also a national record for the Serbian. What can she do? And again, she's just a little off to this right-hand side. And I believe that she took one attempt at 193 and then passed. So would therefore have one more go. I feel it's unlikely she'd pass again. But now Lake has cleared. It's always an option. Even then, looking likely that Morgan Lake has done what she needs to do. Made it harder for Topic. And yeah, that kind of gamesmanship is part of being in a competition. Gardašević, the other top Serbian, this time in the long jump, of course. So last time we looked, D'Souza was leading with 660. That's still the case, and it's actually into a minus 1.3 wind. Gardašević still in second, 659. But that has now changed. 671 coming up into a minus 0.6. So a change of leader. And by the way, the entry standard for the World Athletics Championship, 686. But obviously something like 671 would still put you in a great position. And as we see here, Tatiana Gusin being interviewed, just missing out in that three-way battle. Really nice conclusion that we've seen to this high jump. Really competitive. Obviously the athletes are looking for individual heights, but you know, as a spectacle, it's been really strong. And of course, as we know, this is the one thing that can change. Topic now, last attempt, and she does clear at 195. She waited. She wasn't sure if the rattle would push the bar off. And while she's not quite at her very best, she still has so much talent, the 19-year-old. She'll go back over to Dragutin, her father, and who better to give advice. You can see here, again, making that slight correction from the previous failure. Gusin happy to see her clear. I really hope Tatiana Gusin has a strong season this year, because she's given wonderful energy to these Greek competitions, and it would be fantastic to see her succeed on the world stage. I feel she'd likely to represent Greece at the European Team Championships, which should be obviously streamed later this month. Top division in Madrid, and then the second and third league will be in Maribor in Slovenia. Second league coming up first, and then the third league. A bit of a break in between for the organisers, but yes, looking forward to working on that event. Obviously, we saw all three divisions brought together as one in Silesia, in Horso, or whatever you call it in Poland. Venues seem to have multiple names, but just going with Maribor in Madrid for this year's. Goosen then. Still, lots of positive to take. Over at 191, and technique looked good, as we were saying. So watching the Filothei Women's Gala, these 4 jumps events have been really encouraging and enjoyable to watch. And when the action does come thick and fast and you have simultaneous events, you want to bounce between them, and you want to be able to know what's happening and know what the key bits of information are. So I have to say, real credit to the organisers in that regard. You know, results are coming up quickly, and we're switching over at key moments, important moments, that we're able to follow each step of the way. Malika Gardasevic in the long jump, so that's after 3 rounds. 671 the lead from the Sousa, improving to 667 a moment ago. My Bedrach Slovenia 646 in third. So bar continues to go up by 2 centimeters, as we understand, so that would mean 197 now. That will be the target for Morgan Lake and Angelina Topic. So Morgan Lake going for the World Athletics A standard, if you like, for those championships in Tokyo. But what a record through this competition so far. So pulls back and then accelerates, curves the run up. Lake here, what can she do? Oh, she had good height again. Yes, she has a personal best of 199, but yeah, she's done that once, and she's just a couple of centimetres away from that with this attempt. Clearly she's in good form and feels confident, because we've barely seen a metaphorical break of stride from her here. And you have to consider as well that 197 in what she's going for is her second best all time, albeit she has done it on 4 occasions. Most recently at the World Championships in 2023, where she was agonisingly close to a medal. Certainly the opportunity was there for the taking, and yeah, she's had other occasions where she's been hoping very much to medal and has missed out by some margin. And yeah, it does happen in high jump. It's very, very difficult to be consistent. All credit to Topic and obviously Mahuchik, who has done that. But particularly Topic being just 19 years of age still. And she's obviously won the World Under-20 title in Lima last year, which is often a breakthrough competition. But for her, it's something like her 3rd title at international level. And I reckon, just trying to add it all up actually, 7th medal at international level across senior and age groups. Tilde Johansson, it was on home soil in 2019. She won sprint hurdles gold the same year, where it was in the stadium in Karlstad. She got that Swedish junior record. Trying to get back to her best. It's been a tricky road. So Morgan Lake, as we say, trying to do what she's done on a few occasions before. The second best ever it would be equal with, 197. At this second attempt, the Briton here approaching this bar. And she gave it everything. It was a committed attempt once again, but a little off. But it's the sort of height that she'd want to clear if she was just like in Budapest. She was in contention for a medal at the World Championships. And while it's difficult to simulate that condition and that environment, it's a sort of occasion against a top athlete that she wants to produce her very best. This is Bessie, the Greek, who we saw improve in the second round, and that looks like an excellent jump. So just having a look at her credentials then, Bessie, as we see, obviously the high jump close to reaching a conclusion, but long jump obviously going into the 4th round now. Bessie in 7th place, personal best of 662, and she moves up to 5th with 635. Oh, I thought it was a little bit further than that. In any case, it's very close, just 3 centimetres off of what her personal best was before this year. And yeah, she's had 3 recent competitions that are top 3 on her all-time list in her career. And oh, don't you just love having that data to hand, the nerdy element of athletics, knowing everyone's past results and knowing that Morgan Lake has gone 197 or better on 5 occasions. It was twice, in fact, in 2023 that she cleared 197 specifically, following that British record indoors in Hustepec of 199. 2019 also made it over 197 at that very meeting, and then in Birmingham, the British Championships, 197 in 2018. Gecko, talking of national championships, she won the Greek title outdoors last year. Goka. Again, I feel like that should get the benefit of the doubt, proverbially. Very close on the board, hangs in the air nicely, continues with that rotation. Good transfer of energy. See, obviously falling out of the air, but doing well. She slipped down to 7th place, having initially been in the lead. That's because she hasn't improved since the first round, but has done so now to 641. Wind legal, 14 centimetres off her PB, and she's in 4th. 5 centimetres off the top 3. Looks like she's about to get a high five there from Gala Savage. Hopefully no one was left hanging. Want to stay hanging in the closing stage of the jump, obviously. Oh, look at that. You can see Topic getting a bit of advice in the background. More on the high jump in just a sec. Soteria Rapti, improving her personal best by 4 centimetres to 637 in the 2nd round. It was wind legal as well. I was saying that I've never read out so many wind measurements, but it has been all over the place, particularly in the triple jump, up to 5.6 for Ilona Masson of Belgium, our winner, with 14.31. Rapti.
One attempt in this height, μία προσπάθεια σε αυτό το ύψος.
Keep you up to date with how the long jump progresses, but we need to watch this high jump now. Morgan Lake. Well, passing here up to 199. Topic did the same, so trying to equal the British record. Morgan Lake here in Athens. Oh, bar comes down. Still, it's close, but of course, Lake, 2 failures at 197. She went for it at 199, knowing it would be 1 attempt. And you'd have to say that was pretty close. And that speaks huge volumes of where she's at. She's only done that once in the past. I say only, it's a bar worthy of tremendous respect. Just imagine had she done that, and be very interesting to see now what Topic can do, because she's passed at 2 heights. Well, she hasn't cleared at 2 heights since that 191 wobble where she needed the 3rd time of asking to get over. Then 2nd attempt at 195 is all that we've seen her clear in, well, the last 20 minutes or so, but I say all. And obviously at 199 this would be a national record, so that's another twist and turn. It's almost getting like the pole vault was. Angelina Topic, let's see what she can do. She was the winner here last year, as mentioned. Only 194 was needed, but 195 here. Morgan Lake has cleared. And 2 heights higher now. We're seeing Topic the Serbian. Ever the brave, ever confident. What can she do? No. You just had the feeling that she's not at her very best. And although you'd like to give her the benefit of the doubt, she's holding it like a javelin. She's doing the official's job, putting the bar back on. Her dad has given her so much, as has her mum, but she's now a world-class talent in her own right, and really love watching her. All credit to Morgan Lake for a wonderful victory here in Athens. So Agathe de Souza, 667. This is where the battle is. And yes, we do have another potentially dramatic finale. 4 centimetres between the top two athletes in the long jump. We're in the 4th round now. Oh, the music for a moment really was ear-piercing, going up through the volume, decibels, and yes, de Souza matching 667 from the 3rd round. So Gardashevich holding on to her lead for now. I feel like we have to draw breath a bit after that exciting high jump finale. Tilda Johansson, the Swede here. Let's see what she can do. No, she's one has had to change around, take off foot after previous injury, and it was something that I think flared up after that 2019 victory in the hurdles. Has also been a heptathlete by trade as well. So Angelina Topic, second attempt at 199. Going for a personal best and national record. It was closer than the first attempt. Bessie in the long jump. We have seen some very strong Greek performances, and including some PBs for some of the Greek athletes in this long jump. Season's best for Gusin in the high jump. So 6:35, and she's in 6th place, just 2 centimetres off that new PB for Rapti. It's a Greek 4.56, and it's led by Andriana Goka. 6:41, 5 centimetres off the windy jump of Maja Bedrac of Slovenia. So Goka floating her way closer to 7 metres. She was also floating off to the right hand side, and her foot had floated over the board. You can see the number of spikes that have made marks in that board as well after a long day's jumping. Well, rather going to see Topic do what she did at 191 and summon everything to correct at the 3rd time of asking. Or we're going to see that she's just a little bit off her best today. Having said that, you have to credit the competitive nous to stay in the competition, find a way of doing so, and now still be attempting a national record. So trying to clear 199 at just 19 years of age, the Serbian. This would be a massive result. This would be the headline if she can do it. Seeing off very, very strong competition, as she's used to doing. Oh, and she had the height. But in many ways, it's the result that you expected if you've been watching the competition over the last hour. And it's been thrilling to see. Head-to-head rivalry. I know that's not necessarily what the athletes are putting front and centre, but for the spectators, it's been brilliant. So Morgan Lake confirmed as the victor, 195. So now, just the one event that we're focusing on, it's the women's long jump. And here is Agathe de Souza. She's been eligible to represent Portugal for the last year. Originally from Sao Tome and Principe. She has 6.67 twice in the 3rd and 4th round. 6.60 from the 1st round, so 3 jumps within 7 centimetres of one another. Gadasevic with 2 jumps within 12 centimetres of one another, and the best is 6.71 from the 3rd round. She's 21 centimetres ahead of 3rd place, but let's see what she can do. Oh, it's another solid effort. I think it gets the white flag. Again, it's difficult to tell without actually seeing. Just going really by what her face was saying. Let's see, nice determined run-up, spot on the board more or less. Slight push off to the left there, but stays in the air nicely. And it's 663 then. So 4 jumps within 7 centimeters for De Souza. Personal best 703. Portuguese indoor champion and European bronze medalist last year in Rome. Well, Gardashevich and Topic both winning here last year, 194 and 673 respectively. Topic in second place, so 1 position off, and losing out to Morgan Lake, but it's still a great competition. Gardashevich 2 centimeters off what she did last year, and 1 position off as well. But look at that. Does that get the white flag? And how close is that to 7 meters? Don't let the sandpit fool you too much. Oh no. Well, that's one reason why she had the distance advantage there. Tilde Hansen started off with 6.15 in the first round. She's improved by 5 centimeters since then. Remains in 8th place. A little bit harsh, I feel, that there are 10 athletes involved. Also, similar to the triple jump where there were 9, and only the top 8 continue for the second half of the competition. But she has continued. She has 1 more jump. Diana Lesti retiring after the 4th round. So it means we have 7 jumps left to go. 3 Greek athletes, and then our top 3 after this. So eyes down, then eyes up. I think that is over the board. Could be wrong. The camera will confirm. Oh no, it is good. That will teach me to speak. Really nice leg action though, just to extend that jump. And a very solid improvement to 6.37, and she moves up 2 places. Lesti out of the competition, can't respond. Natalia Bessi still in and can. Well, it means that between 3rd, Maya Bedrach, and 8th, there are just 12 centimeters. Johansson actually 6th on count back to Rapti because of second best jumps, and there are 9 centimeters between those second best jumps, 6.20 and 6.29. So you're watching the concluding stages of this Filothei Women's Gala in Athens. Natalia Bessi only needs 2 centimeters to go up a place, but she's looking for a big jump here. 6.62 this year. It's going to be very close. Certainly not a significant improvement. It's not going to threaten her new lifetime best. Oh, it's 6.32, so yeah, again, great consistency. 3 jumps within 3 centimeters. So Leslie will finish 8th, Bessie 7th, Johansson 6th. Adriana Gocca, who's in 4th, and she's next in the order because she improved in the second half of the competition to 6:41, taking her past compatriot Satiria Rapti. So needs 6 centimetres to improve positionally. Nice and agile just at the end of that jump. Ah, but it is over. Still, she had to pull out all the risks there to just get the extra distance. Satiria Rapti, the only athlete to get a personal best in this long jump competition. So just maybe she's the athlete we should be looking at when we're hoping for an improvement in the final round. The Greek indoor champion was pushed down in the 4th round by the Greek outdoor champion. Gocca ahead of Rapti by 4 centimetres. Nice and clean on the board with that placement. High up, spring, away she goes. Oh, this is going to be around 6:30, you know. It is. It's 6:37 again, but windy. Well, another great competition, and it comes down to the final 3 jumps. Again, I'm not sure we've seen much of Maya Bedrats, but she's up there in 3rd. She has a windy jump. I think she's the only athlete with a windy best. Oh, Diana Lesti as well down in 8th. But obviously that was very much the story of the competition, the triple jump. Goodness me. 14:31 plus 5.6 for Ilona Masson of Belgium, the winner. Bedrats 21 centimetres off 2nd place. She can really go for it here. Oh, she flies her way through. The Slovenian. I wonder whether she'll be chosen on home soil for the European Team Championships. And that is a close one to call. I'm not sure. I had a feeling that it was bad news, but there wasn't much in it at all. Said she could go for it, she did, and she comes away with 6:46, and as for wind legal, 6:32. D'Souza's been misconsistency. 6:60, 6:67, 6:67 again, and 6:63. She's only 4 centimetres off the lead. She's very much capable. Is the European bronze medalist. And she's the only athlete who can stop Malika Gardasevic from winning this competition in back-to-back years. So D'Souza now working those arms hard. Let's have a look for placement. Again flies her way through. Oh, it's so hard to read the emotion. She had plenty of space there. Well, slow-mo replay makes it look like she had just a touch of caution. But it is also a slow-mo replay. It's 6:67 for the 3rd time in the competition. Oh, I think you can read that face now. The emotion you'd expect to doing that for a 3rd time and being 4 centimetres off our leader, Gardasevic, and she puffs her cheeks a bit. A little bit of relief. She's held on to the lead again. D'Souza had briefly at the end of the 1st round. So, what can Gardasevic do now? See if she can get closer to that World Athletics A standard, if you like. I think the foot was close, and that may be, yes, why she's applauding. Certainly got us excited, though. So that concludes the long jump. Milika Gardashevich winning once again the long jump, 671. Still very, very respectable distance from D'Souza. Nice battle there. Bedrach, and good opportunities for Greek athletes to do well, as we saw Adamopoulou winning the pole vault and dealing with the fact that Filothei had passed and Bumpalidi behind her. A 17-year-old with 4:30 clearance. Fantastic, obviously, the high jump. Morgan Lake attempting a British record, a Centu with a Serbian record for Topic. In the end, Lake 195, Topic the same height. Great competition. Triple jump started us off. Obviously, very, very windy. 14:31 for Massena, Belgium, but a great result for her. 3 athletes over 14 meters. So it's been a fascinating competition. Wonderful to focus on jump by jump, read the athlete emotions. Thank you so much for watching. Do keep an eye on the European Athletics channels for future streams of these meetings. My name's Alex Seftel, and thank you so much for your company. Have a good evening.